Oh, yes. I'm in the letter D of the encyclopedia. And I went looking for divorce in the encyclopedia. Yes. And these grounds for divorce. Yes. Adultery, cruelty, desertion. Yes. And then the no fault divorce. Yes. The incurable insanity of one spouse. Pooh. Now, I've been having to work through the issues of you issuing mental health evaluations without any evidence of any crimes. But then I look at the requirements of the law for male pursuant of court order after the two personal attempts at serving the respondent. Yes. Then I look at the previous divorces of my wife where she used certificate of service. Pooch. You can't name me as a defendant, and she couldn't name her previous husband as a defendant. Yes. But it looks like she paid the filing fees, or somebody did. Poop. Now, this proof of mailing, affidavit of mailing, and a declaration of Heidi Budnick on 7/30 of 2013. Yes. There should have been two mail returned unclaimed. Yes. Where's the other one? See, you got a little criminal conspiracy going on where you gave custody of my sons to my wife, and she had been married twice before. And she did understand the process necessary for dissolution of marriage. Yes. And over the years, she probably learned a lot. Now, I think the certificate of service that it says in Jefferson County is not allowable. That family law names you as the petitioner and the respondent. Yes. Civil lawsuits name you as the plaintiff and the defendant. Yes. Now, when we get a copy of all the documents in Jefferson County, you cannot say that I have an incurable mental illness because my wife ran into the court. Yes. Alleged domestic violence. Had you issue a protection order, right? And then I was not a resident. She wasn't. Neither were my sons. Yes. And then because you say she suffered what is known as domestic violence, and my sons allegedly suffered some sort of child abuse. Yes. She didn't pay any of the filing fees necessary. Yes. For anything that you did as a court. Poop. Now, the unlawful detained residential, commercial, unlawful anti-harassment filing fee, $53, and then domestic adoption and paternity. The adoption, one child per adoption fee, filing, $220, $260. I just wondered, where was Legina adopted at? Was she adopted in Clallam County? Or was she adopted from Haiti State Department? Because you say it's not child abuse, and I say it is. Coach, I'm going to need to know the actual fees that were paid to commit the crime of maternity fraud, where there's a little civil, a criminal conspiracy between Susan Bowers and Mike Van Proy. Now, this paying of fees is the RCWs, the laws there. See, domestic relations, dissolution, legal separation, invalidating, and see, a facilitator for domestic violence surcharge $54. Yes. Total judicial surcharge $314. You know, when I don't get notice of any of the hearings, yes. And then she says, well, mail returned unclaimed in, so, well, if you declare two, right, two times that you sent it, yes. And then you motion the court for default dissolution of marriage using the wrong last name, yeah. And then I don't get any of the actual documentation, and she doesn't pay any filing fees, and she paid filing fees in the previous two dissolutions of marriage. Yes, yes. And she did have a daughter in the previous. How is it possible that you, as a court right now, would think that my wife should have custody of my sons? Now, they're in the wrong grades. Right. I've proven that when I sent you an email today. Yes. They were kidnapped. Yes. And you said because of domestic violence, there is no surcharge. Did the state pay this? Because I'd like to know who paid it. Or is there some sort of special waiver for indigent ex parte motions for petition? Fee for services, facilitator fee? Yeah. See, I think she actually has stolen some money from the state of Washington. Modification of decree or objection to relocation of children. Yes. Now, my sons were relocated out of the actual county. Hmm. But you said that I didn't have any rights, and I've been emailing you since November 15th of 2015. Yes, that she did not sign this. Right. And she didn't sign this. Yes. And then a little later on, I said this was a forgery. Yes. Yes, yes. And this was coercion. This was extortion. And then there's a criminal conspiracy between these two. Yes. Now, I still haven't got a relocation notice. Do you know where my sons are at? Um, they're this whole idea of county, states, modification of decree or petition for relocation. Yeah, that could be part of the dissolution of marriage. Yeah. Now, parentage, parenting challenge, parenting plan support, termination, parent-child relationship. Yes, I've never given up my right to custody of my sons. Now, I told you when you used forgery and fraud to issue court orders, right? I'm going to need to know where you sent because I'm not going to go to court right now. I'm not going to pay 50 cents a piece of paper. You're going to produce every fucking document and all of them that have forgeries. And then I'm going to sue you and have you imprisoned for criminal conspiracy. Oh, oh, oh. You're not going to say I'm crazy. You're not going to say my sons are crazy. You are going to remove your fraud from the United States of America. Now, for every judge that thinks that I don't have the authority, this Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction Act, yes. Filing for registration, enforcement, or modification, yeah. Exactly who paid all the fees for all the protection orders and the dissolution of marriage? And then, well, I didn't. You didn't give me notice of fucking court hearings. Marion, did you allow for my wife to use the wrong forms in her dissolution of marriage to Tim Hodges? And then I noticed her dissolution of marriage in 1995 from Bosma. Yes. I'm going to want photocopies right now. Wage assignment, spousal maintenance, or child support? Yes. Filing of original action, $220. Yeah. Judicial surcharge, $40. Yes. Of all of these child support worksheets, why is there not a fee on any of this? Yes. There was nothing that she did, yeah, that would justify you issuing a dissolution of marriage. You're not going to say I'm crazy. Oh, see, these court orders and forms were not in order. Having been a financial consultant, you will not say that I'm disillusioned for knowing that there was no state of Washington. Well, where's the other returned mail? Mail returned unclaimed. Yeah. Could you get me the fees of Clallam County and Jefferson County and then the actual forms that were filed with the clerk of the court? Yes. It could be that some people in the family don't pay any fees that the rest of the population does because this could be, see, this is non-judicial resolution filing petition agreement memorandum, $20. Yeah. It might not be that important to you, but there were no children in her first marriage. And then notice to creditors. I think that my grandmother owed me some money. And she probably owed me like 50, 200,000. When I was staying at her house when I got there from Guam, I had lent her a large amount of money. And not getting any of the notice to creditors as her oldest grandson, yes, I would have put in that she owed me some money. I mean, some people say I'm making it up, but you'd have to prove it. Now, this non-probating of my grandmother's estate when she died in 2017, or was it 2016? I have been cut out, yes, of the family's business. Now, for all of those that my grandmother owed money to, that my criminal assessment upon conviction, $200 upon sentencing or at any time within 10 years, the criminal collection service. Yeah. Um, just let's, use a supercomputer right now. See, I know that my wife had an immense amount of experience on how this whole process works. Yeah. I didn't have any experience. But when I read that the certificate of service is to be used in civil lawsuits and not actual dissolutions of marriage, it should be petitioner versus respondent. Yeah. And then regular and certified mail for each one of these. Yes. And that would be 2 mail returns unclaimed for every time she sent anything. Now, I'm going to want you to remove your fraud, okay? And then I'm going to want to sue you. Do you understand, Brent, right now? I'm going to want to sue you. I'm going to have you put in prison. Now, I had so much time. I'm going to want to know the actual paper products in the sewage of most all cities. You're going to actually buy what I say. Could you get me all those that are certified divers everywhere in the world? Yes, yes, yes. You know how fish are attracted to water? And this FINA, yes, FINA, yeah. Could you get me all of those that are involved in that organization? Excuse me. Yeah. Now, these dives, yes, 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 very important. I actually like women that do wear one-piece swimsuits while diving. Yes. Of course, it's a very thin type of material that seems to fit a little too tight. But if you're a diver, I'd like to know about it. Now, this was something Father Divine. Yes. 1880 to 1965. There's a question mark about his actual birth. Yes. He was the leader and founder of a peace mission movement. Yes. I talked to you about Holy Ghost burnout and how a lot of people are very anointed. Yes. And he opened his first church in New York City, and they were very successful during the actual Depression. Yes. But after he died, interest in the movement declined sharply. Quite often, when you start something as a leader, yes, it's the movement of the individual that can cause things to happen. I feel like I have a certain amount of anointing in my own personal life. I told you about a little celebration that I wanted to plan for the 2,000 years of Jesus' resurrection, and quite possibly starting a new denomination for those that are concerned about their spirituality. Now, my denomination would have certain rules that if you didn't do it, then you'd not go there. Yeah, not that difficult, but there's district attorneys, a public official. Could you find out who they are? Yes. County attorney, prosecuting attorney, Commonwealth attorney, deputy attorney, or state's attorney. I had seen Rob on the Washington State channel. Yes. Talking about how we should change the age of smoking to 21 years old because those that vape, 30% of them end up actually smoking cigarettes. Now, true. I know the statistics. Isn't that right, Attorney General, State of Washington? Now, for the idiot fuck that calls himself the Attorney General, I have a big problem with changing the age of actual purchase of any tobacco product because you say that vaping actually leads to smoking cigarettes. Now, we have a voting law. Yes, 18 years old, you're an adult. We have the availability of listing in the military, and quite often 18 is the understood age. Yes. And then there's this whole idea of changing the age of pornography to the age of 21. Yes, 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 yes. You would think that if I could go on a website and see, 8 to 10 people having sex with each other, I should know whether or not I should be buying cigarettes.